And is that idea, or what came before, chicken or the egg? And in a way, it's like, have we internalized that idea to such level in society that it should just happen, that we kind of, I would say, almost settle, or cling to something that comes our way, someone who comes our way without really putting much thought and intention, and it's kind of more of a sense of like, well, it's working, so it's working, right? Um, and the more I go through different experiences, and I really want to contrast it with the idea of, like, say, jobs, and I think this is the big thing that is changing right now, is that a lot of people are changing jobs almost like every year, every 2 years, and the contrast is what it has been with, say, the previous generations, where people held jobs for like 10, 15, 20 years plus. And I mean, on the surface, we could talk about loyalty, but like going through those experiences myself, and I mean the experience of like changing jobs, um, I'm realizing that it's also like a big point of self discovery, and sometimes you're just unable. Like, it's amazing if you find a person or like organization where you're kind of both evolving, and so because you're both evolving, you're growing, but um, there is something to be said about trying yourself and being in different environments, or like learning different skill sets, and how much expensive that could be, how much you can learn from that, and how much you can grow. And I really like this phrase, knowing the difference makes all the difference. It really does, because sometimes not knowing, you don't have anything to compare to. You don't really, like, something is not working sometimes, and it's so subtle, and you can't even put it in words, right? um and then only once you experience it, or experience something different, you're like, oh my god, this is how it could be. And so I think we are kind of starting to accept that as a new normal, in a way that, like, it's fine to look for the job that satisfies you, in a way, like ticks all your boxes. It's fine to want that. It's fine to change jobs and try things on, change careers, change professions. Like, we really have moved towards it, and being intentional about that is not seen, like, there is nothing wrong with it, I guess. It's kind of an accepted thing. And so is, like, say, we bring it even to something that is even more common, which is like looking for a house. It's a big deal, right? Like, we realize that buying a house, it's a big deal, and not just given like economic conditions, like of the present day, but I mean, just generally speaking, it's a long-term investment, right? It's somewhere where you want to live. It's, you know, like, you have to consider a lot of things. So usually people put a lot of thought and time buying a house, searching for a house. And that's also kind of an accepted fact, something that we just do, and something that is expected. It would be more unusual or rare to someone to just come and see a first house and buy it. And I'm not going to say, oh, that's not going to work, or that's going to be a bad decision. No, sometimes, like, I still believe in intuition. I still believe in those like magical, um, you know, interconnection of all the things coming together in circumstances. But um, at the same time, I think there is a lot to be said about, like, you just don't know what you don't know, right? Um, and I feel like myself, because I have been living in so many different places and moving around a lot too. So it's like from houses to apartments to, like, condo buildings. So I have experienced a lot of things, and those things are like, even the fact that I remember, like, a few years ago, I didn't even consider that I need an outdoor space, that I need a balcony. And it wasn't because I don't like outdoors. It was just not something I thought I need until I had a balcony, and now I can't imagine not having a balcony. So like that becomes automatically a condition on the list of the things that I would put if I were looking for a house. And we see it as a big major decision, and that's okay. But then when it comes to love, I think that narrative of over, like, nobody is gonna say to you, I'm overthinking it when you're looking, like, you're trying to choose a house. It's kind of like, well, you expected to think a lot about that. You expected to make all these lists and pros and cons. You were expected to, like, like, put a lot of thought in it. And so I think it's really, like, takes away from that when we looking at relationships and partners and like choosing a life partner. Sure, we don't want to have that pressure when we just meet someone, but at the same time, I think it's only fair, it's more than fair to, and it doesn't take away from love and romance and magic. It's just something that, hey, I know myself and I know what I want and what works for me. um and it's just about being intentional about that, right? So I would give an example, like if I'm thinking about the person who takes really long to reply to texts, and that really bothers me, and I would consider that overthinking, and if I could start filling in the gaps with all the reasons why they're doing that instead of actually having conversation about it. But then like long term, I still need to determine like how much communication I need with a person and can they give me that. So, and that communication, like I need to know my reasons why too. Is it because like I'm trying to fill a certain gap? Is it because of the past